You're listening to RTLSA.
It is Tuesday Talks indeed, being Tuesday, and out and about in the sunshine today, Dave Romero, very good morning. It looks very nice and sunny there.
Morning, Nolly. I'm doing the show from Museburg Beach. I don't know if you can see behind me the iconic
Yes.
symbols of Museburg. It's a glorious day, Cape Town, so I thought, no, let's rather do the show from the outside today.
And also not too much wind today.
Well, I'm a bit sheltered. There is some wind.
Good thinking.
This is Cape Town.
Dave, I ran out of time to do my 30 seconds of your life that you'll never get back. So do you mind if I waste 30 seconds of your life?
No, not at all. Go ahead. Yeah, no
And
problem.
now, 30 seconds that you will never get back on RTLSA.
Dave, did you know, 30 seconds of your life that you'll never get back, did you know that the Rubik's Cube is the best-selling toy of all time? And since it was introduced in 1980, over 350 million Rubik's Cubes have been sold.
Oh, my word. That's such a successful toy then, right? Did you get it right?
Could you feel any the wiser?
Could you do it?
What, a Rubik's Cube?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. my son, however, claims, I haven't seen it, but he claims that he can do Rubik's Cube in a few minutes. Like,
oh wow, yeah. I've seen people actually do it blindfolded and in seconds, which is incredible.
That's crazy. I will tell you. I will tell you what I did once. I had a Rubik's Cube, and I really wanted to impress my mother, so I pulled off all the stickers and stuck them all in the right place. And I went to my mother and said, "Look, I did it."
Did she believe you?
I doubt it. Oh my goodness. So Dave, you've been good, you say?
Yeah, I've been great. Loving the move to Museburg. It's now almost 3 months, and yeah, I'm really enjoying living here.
Nice. Dave, last week we mentioned that Cyril Ramaphosa was cutting his international trip short to come back to address the power issue that we've got at the moment with load shedding and stuff like that. And I picked up a piece this morning after he hasn't said a word since he got back to the country, by the way. Not a word about it. And then yesterday in his letter to the nation, he said that government will not do anything about the short-term load shedding schedule. But they are committed to sorting out the long-term problem. So why did he come back?
Sorry, no, I interrupted you.
I said, so why did he come back? He could have just gone on to New York and did what he needed to do there and been back today and done nothing.
Because aesthetics would be bad. It looked very bad that we're going to level 6 and our president is in New York. So from a aesthetics perspective, we had to come back. And I heard now, well, I've been reading some articles that there's going to be a shake-up of the ESCOM board. I really, really hope they don't fire or replace the current CEO. We've had 16, I think the figures are 16 CEOs in 16 years. There's no continuity. You need... this current CEO is going through the process. He's not listening to the noise, and there's also a lot of reports saying that Gwyneth Matanshe is holding back through red tape independent power producers, IPPs. I don't know how true that is, but it would have surprised me that because of red tape, we can't fix the problems. And what's really disturbing is the fact that Ramaphosa a few months ago said, look, we're going to cut through the red tape and brought out some really good initiatives which then haven't been implemented yet. And this is a problem, you see. But William Tanshe, in his infinite wisdom, turns around and says that a load shedding or energy crisis or problems, it's not only a South African problem. Look at Europe and America. I mean, what a stupid thing to have said. our problems stem back to 2008. So yeah, you see, when you've got this kind of mindset, it's very discouraging.
You talk about the red tape. I covered it on my show yesterday, and it's true. The red tape is a real issue, and they have only since July processed 3 applications for independent power supplies, and there are another 49 outstanding that will probably only, if all goes well, be processed by the end of October. So
You see,
that is how much they cut through red tape.
Yeah, but I mean, it's such bullshit. I mean, we are in a crisis. Surely, under crisis circumstances, you will hire more staff on a temporary basis. You know, just on a temporary basis, just people that can actually fast track this kind of activity. And just get it done. Work through weekends, after hours. Just push them through. Go through the processes, but get people that are unemployed, that've got the skills to come in and get this stuff sorted out. And we talk about this all the time, and it's in the press, it's in the news about the red tape, about pushing things through, and it does not happen. I just don't get it. I really don't. I just get it.
I don't think it's necessarily the fact that we don't have enough people doing the job. I think it's maybe because governments are looking for a way to make money off this. And that is where the red tape
that
is.
That could be. But remember also, well, you know, there's a lot of people employed, but how effective are those people? That's also like a big thing. And it's also a massive problem in Eskom, apparently, lack of skills. And people keep on saying, no, there's all the skills in South Africa required to run the utility properly. Then employ them. Oh, goodness, just get them in and let's get this thing sorted out, you know. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing: the longer they take to get this sorted out, or get the private energy sector up and running, the longer we're going to deal with this Eskom problem, because they're not building new plants. More and more plants are scheduled to be decommissioned one of these days. We are breakdown after breakdown after breakdown, and the longer they take, the more time they waste with this process of getting the independent contractors up and running, the longer we're going to deal with this issue with Eskom, and it's just as simple as that.
You know that they wanted to dispense the rule about procurement, preferential procurement, so to solve the problems with the current plants. Do you know that's still in place? It's still in place. So if you're not a black-owned business, okay, or got very strong B credentials, it's still very difficult for you as a white business to do business with Eskom, even if you've got the parts or you've got the capability of fixing the situation, purely because of policy. So policy trumps the economy. So it's better to have this policy that clearly does not work for our country. So rather put that up first, as opposed to actually fixing the economy and creating jobs.
But
it's bizarre.
Hasn't that been the problem? It's been the problem in our country since 1994. That's been the mindset since 1994.
But this is, I know it has been a problem since 94, but this is really hectic what's going on right now. I mean, small businesses are shutting down. So you go preach policy to them and say to them, no, look, you know, we want to empower the previously disadvantaged, which it's not doing, actually. It's not doing that at all. All that it's doing is actually making an elite, a black elite, rich. A very few. It's not filtering down to the man in the street. Because look at the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate keeps on going up. So it's definitely, it's not work. So why be so stubborn and stick with policies that clearly don't work or has any benefit to anybody but an elite few? Just abolish all this rubbish and let's just fix our utilities. Let's fix our SAEs. And then once they're fixed, then let's look at transformation. And like I think we discussed it last week, where we suggest you take the not the people that have been retired, bring them back and partner with people so that there's a skills transfer, effective skills transfer that takes place. Get that done. Let's get the basics right, and let's fix our country.
One good thing is that Gwedi Mantashe did come out yesterday in support of Andre de Ruyter. So let's hope that that's a good sign.
but he has criticized. So can you imagine? I mean, we said this before. Ruyter must have like serious balls because this is a job that no one wants.
Yeah.
Okay, and he apparently took a pay cut. Takes a pay cut. Everybody hates you. And the minister prior to yesterday was also against him. So, he probably goes to a spa. You can imagine him staying in the queue in the spa. And people say, Andre, when are you going to get the fucking thing sorted out?
Exactly.
I wouldn't like this job.
I'm going to go on a limb and I'm going to say Andre de Ruyter for president in 2035.
You must. His endurance level of abuse must be very high. Jeez.
Dave, just sticking with the ANC and politics, before we move on to talk about bullying and stuff like that. NDZ, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, the ANC's presidential hopeful, came out this week saying that the ANC's step-aside rule is nonsense and it's unconstitutional. Do you think that she is running on that ticket ahead of the elective conference coming up?
Well, we're not surprised that she would say that, right? I mean, why would you not be supportive of that kind of policy if you've got a vested interest?
Exactly.
Or the party, or the people around you have got a vested interest? Because why on earth would you want to go against it?
Yeah.
The step-aside rule is, you know what, it's even incredible to think that a politician like her, or a future politician maybe, thinks that it's okay, that you are charged with rape, murder, theft, racketeering, terrorism, that you're charged with that kind of activity. Charged, eh? Remember, that's the step-aside rule is only when you charged.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you're charged with murder, that's okay. You can run for president of the ANC. I mean, it's just so incredibly bizarre. And what is even more bizarre is they try to justify the stance. So instead of just be quiet about it, say, listen, because we all know the reason.
Yeah.
They make a big noise about it, and like to be proud and rational people, okay, sit and listen to this and think, oh my word, really, is that okay for you? I really don't understand. There can't be a lot of support for a stance because it was passed by the NEC.
But I do think that this is evidence of the clear rift in the ANC and the two divisions and the two sides that are going against each other.
Yeah, but I mean, she's not been endorsed by KZN. It's the other delinquent, the one that was charged with the Minister of Health, the previous Minister of Health, that was charged with 150 million rand.
William Kizzy.
He hasn't been charged. He hasn't been charged. Sorry, but there's like massive clouds over him about what happened with that. What's it? That video or that communications company.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just one after the other. It's almost you want to point to the person which is the least corrupt as a bonus.
Well, heaven help us if she becomes president of the ANC. Heaven help us.
No, I pray to God that does not happen. It will be a total disaster. The same. Remember back when Zuma was cleared, I think days before the election, from all charges by the MPA, which was clearly, frequently was overturned, that discharge, everybody was saying, but like practically everybody was saying it will be a disaster, Zuma coming. And now then we were all labeled racist and anti-transformation and, colonial mind, and all that bullshit came out. And look what happened.
9 years later. Exactly.
But people are quite quick to lash out without actually making proper assessments of the situation. And if she comes in, it will be another disaster, another 5 years of Zuma cronies floating around in our ecosystem and destroying our country.
Let's change the subject a little bit. Something maybe.
Oh, is that too heavy?
No, I was about to say something maybe a little heavier. In my main story today, I spoke about bullying at school, and a lot of people are saying that schools are kind of burying their head in their sand and whatever, and not really addressing the issue of bullying. I've got a different thought on it, and I thought that maybe you can elaborate a little bit on this, and it's going to go hand in hand with what we want to discuss after that. But how responsible do you think parents are for bullying?
I think parents are partly responsible. I think they do have a factor. Um, People that bully, I think they've done some analysis, and they normally come from a very unstable homestead, and it gets manifested through bullying. That frustration is manifested through bullying. It can also be like a cultural aspect where it's kids or boys are imparted with this situation where they have to be macho and stand up to your peers, etc., etc. So this kind of bullying then plays out on the fields. There's also a lot of cyberbullying taking place.
Yeah.
In fact, that is on a massive increase. And cyberbullying is taking place because it's faceless, right? So it's very easy just to post a comment or be mean on social media. This is why Twitter is a beautiful platform for deranged people putting up all kinds of comments, because it's faceless, right? There's no repercussions. And that's why the bullying is on the increase.
Let's just bring it back to schools. And if a child is being bullied, how do you think it should be dealt with? In two parts, by the school and by the parents.
Well, if someone is guilty of bullying, they should be suspended straight away. And then I would think then that the powers that be at the school would call in the child and the parents and have a session with them, and that the bully goes through some kind of therapy to address the problem. If it happens again in a particular school, then the kid should be expelled. But first try to fix it, try to fix the problem, try to address why is this kid bullying. There should be punishment, like a suspension, but it should be addressed with the parents and put into some form of a program to address the issue.
Now, what about the child being bullied? How do you think the school and the parents should address that?
Well, I think that the child that's been bullied the schools should have proper interventions where a bullied child must be counseled, can't be left alone. Because a child that's been bullied continuously has enormous side effects that only manifest at times when you're a grown-up. But we'll get into that now, I think. But on both sides, there must be intervention. You have to stop the bullying, and the only way to stop the bullying is by assessing or establishing what the problem is, because obviously it's a problem, that's why they're bullying. And then the person that's been bullied, it has to be addressed. There must be some form of counseling, and ongoing counseling, monitoring, to make sure that the learner is fine.
Now, I'll be honest, I'll be brutally honest. Um, I'm shy to say, or not shy. I'm very careful to say that I was bullied at school, because I think everybody at some level gets bullied at some point at school. But I kind of remember a stage where I was called names and things like that, and really didn't take or have a major impact on me. But I mean, 30 odd years down the line, I can still remember it clearly. And now, someone who gets really bullied at school and really takes it personally and gets really hurt by this and goes on 30 years later in their life are still suffering the consequences of this, which is going to bring us now to talking about letting go of the past and things like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was also bullied in standard 5 or grade 7. No, and I remember that clearly and distinctly. Um, I wasn't physically bullied, although I did have a few punch ups. It was more verbal abuse, and I was in a primary school that was mostly Afrikaans, and I was called an Uitlander because I was born in Spain, and I was taunted. It was dramatic enough for me to remember, because I don't remember much of my primary school, but that I do remember. And yeah, it's got severe consequences. Even though it could be a small amount of abuse, of bullying, um, you still remember it, and it does have an impact. Now, for the ones that have been bullied excessively, or even worse, that has a dramatic impact when you grow up, and it plays out.
And obviously, it's an impact on everything you've done in life going forward. So, where do you reach the point now where you deal with that part of your life, that past?
Well, I think I think if people start saying to you, look, you've been too reactive about something, or about situations, which it's happened to me at times, where people just point out and say, sure, that that your reaction to the situation or what was said was excessive. All right. So if people say that to you, then you have to analyze. You have to first of all recognize that what people are saying to you is correct, it's true, and then you must trace it back. And normally it's better to do it with somebody that can help you to do that. And trace back, and 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 you'll find that a lot of the times, um, this kind of behavior stems from the fact that you were bullied. So you're completely on the defensive, and there are some trigger words that get you all riled up, and you've been reactive, and that kind of thing it plays in your relationships and your relationship with your colleagues and your family. Um, so to sort these things out, at first you have to acknowledge it, trace it back, and then you have to work at it. You have to be conscious about this, okay? And you have to talk about it. And that's the only way to actually bury the past, where you acknowledge that there is a problem, you talk about it, and make a conscious decision of burying it. And I mean, this is part of our topic today. What to do? We all got pasts. We all got. We've all been hurt. We've all been going through life challenges. That's life. And one has to be conscious of this. That when you move forward, you shouldn't bring these past experiences that have a negative impact in your life and bring them current and bring them and make them relevant in your future relationships and with people and with potential partners. You have to be conscious of the fact that everybody's got a past, but we have to leave our past behind, because if we don't leave our past behind, we can never move forward.
Well, I think what you're saying there is quite pertinent. And you say acknowledgement and being conscious of it. That's one thing. But so now you reach that point where you acknowledge it and you're conscious of it. How do you adjust your behavior to deal with it? Because I think that's really where the key comes in.
Okay, so I've talked about this often, about not being reactive. So if someone attacks you or whatever manner, whether they're right or wrong, don't just react. Don't just instinctively react. Learn just to hold back a few seconds. Just think it through. Just think it through. Okay, those few seconds could make such a dramatic difference between a hostile situation or an argument. Just those few seconds, just to think, and you have to train yourself to do that because it's natural for all of us to be reactive. If someone comes into your space and insults you or what you're about or anything, you immediately go into the defense and you react it. Okay, so I'm saying that to start the process of healing is first of all just to stop reacting, rather respond to the situation if it requires a response. Sometimes it doesn't require a response, and just leave it, but stop reacting is a key. And I would strongly suggest to speak to life mentors or people. I mean, in Musenberg, there's a men's circle where um, men get together and just open up in a safe environment where they can just talk about the past and how they feel. Those kind of things, they're for free, and they're great support groups. And just to go there and just talk about what's happened to you in the past and open up. And that's part of the healing process. Okay, it's not a quick fix situation. No, you have to go through the process of letting it go slowly, one at a time.
And obviously, you are one of those people that people can get hold of. And, you being a life coach, if anybody does feel that they need to discuss getting over their past and whatever, just give us a quick rundown quickly of how people can get hold of you.
Yeah, well, I'm on social media. I'm very active on social media. I'm also on. People can reach me on WhatsApp on 081 855 0714, and I will respond. As you know, no. Whoever reaches out to me, I will respond. Look, I'm not perfect. I'm also going through my own um, things. Let's call it that needs healing. But it's important when you share life experiences that process is also part of the healing. When people talk about it, and like I do, I'm very open about my past. I talk about it and mistakes I've made. That's part of the healing. It's not quick fix. It's not a quick fix. But what's very important if you realize that your past is having an impact on you now, if you acknowledge it and you realize that that is the case, it's a start. That's the start. That's the start.
What I'll do
Okay.
is,
A lot of people don't acknowledge it. People just don't want to, because it's easy to play the victim, right? And sometimes people excuse their behavior by saying, but, please excuse me because this has happened in the past, etc. That's so unfair. That's so unfair to your potential new partner or your potential new friends or business partners. Why should they suffer the consequences of what's happened to you in the past? And why should you be allowed to utilize that as an excuse for your behavior? Address your behavior, and that's a proper apology.
well, what I'll do is when I post this video on social media later, I will put your contact details on the post as well so that people can contact you if they feel they need to. It's that time, Dave. It's that time. You're on a one
What type
win
of a
streak at the
question?
moment.
What type of a question?
It's regarding a cocktail, alcohol.
Okay, I should that one. I should
right.
be okay.
Let's see. I will tell you this much though. I haven't got any correct answers today yet.
Time to test your knowledge with Power Play Trivia.
Your Power Play Trivia brought to you by Bev Miller. Dave, the question today is, and I'll give you a clue. It's Oprah's favorite drink. Which popular cocktail is known to be served in a copper mug?
In a copper mug.
Yes.
A cocktail.
Yes.
Warm.
No, cold. Cold. It's cocktail. Ice. Vodka.
In a copper mug.
Ginger.
It's probably got a rum in it.
No, vodka. No clue.
In a copper mug.
Yeah, traditionally it was served in
No,
a
but
copper
I don't
mug.
know. Got no idea. No.
Dave, you're back on 0, and don't worry, the rest of South Africa is as well. The answer that you were looking for was a Moscow Mule.
A Moscow Mule. Oh, my
Yes.
word. Isn't that odd? Are you pro-Russian? Listen, are you pro-Russian after what they've been doing to Ukraine, which we haven't been discussing? Everything a Russian mule. What the hell?
Anyway, Dave, have a fantastic week, and we'll catch up with you
you too.
again next week.
You're listening to RTLSA.